Hi everybody, my name is Guillermo Vela and today we are going to talk about the United Kingdom and their literature. Introduction.
What are its origins?
The nature of British Italy has changed over the time. The island that contains England, Scotland and Gales has been known as Britain from the time of the Roman Pliny the Elder. English as the national language had its beginnings with the Anglo-Saxon invasion. Before that, the inhabitants mainly spoke various Celtic languages. The various constituent parts of the present United Kingdom joined at the different times. Gales was annexed by the Kingdom of England under the Acts of Union of 1536 and 1542. However, it was not until 1707, with a treaty between England and Scotland, that the Kingdom of Great Britain came into existence.
What other languages they had?
Well, in early Britain, various Celtic languages were spoken by many British people in that time. Among the most important written works have survived are Gorin and Mabinogion. From the 8th to the 5th centuries, Vikings and Norse settlers and their descendants colonized parts of what is now the modern Scotland. Some Old Norse poetry survived relating to this period, including the Orkneyja saga and historical narrative of the history of the Orkney Islands, from their capture by the Norwegian king in the 9th century until about the 1200.
What is the Anglo-Saxon literature?
Well, that is a very good question because the Old English literature or Anglo-Saxon literature, the literature was written in Old English in Anglo-Saxon England. From the settlement of the Saxons and other Germanic tribes in England until soon after the Norman conquest in 1066.
Has literature changed since the Anglo-Saxon literature?
Well, the literature has really changed since the Anglo-Saxon. The linguistic diversity on the islands in the medieval period contributed to a rich variety of artistic productions and made British literature distinctive and innovative. Geoffrey of Monmouth was one of the major figures in the development of the British history and of the popularity of the tales of King Arthur. He is best known of his chronicle History Regum Britanniae, History of the King of Britain of 1136, which spread Celtic motifs to a greater audience, who wrote in Norman French, is the earliest known poet from Jersey. He also developed the Arthur legend. So you can see his picture at the bottom of the slide.
Hi, my name is Duval Moren. Common first question.
What is the English Renaissance?
The English Renaissance England had a strong tradition of literature in the English vernacular, which gradually necessary and English usage of the printing press became common during the mid-16th century. This tradition of literature written in English vernacular largely began with the Protestant Reformation call to let people interpret the Bible for themselves instead of the accepting the Catholic Church interpretation. Another early proponent of literature in the vernacular was Roger Ascham, who was tutor to Princess Elizabeth during the teenage years and is now often called of the called the father of English prose. He presented that speech was the range read woman from God, and to speaker or write poorly was affront. Second question.
Why was the restoration of the monarchy important in 1660?
Okay, the restoration of the monarchy in 1616 launched a new began for literature, both in celebration of and in reaction to the new whirling and playful court of the king. There is in England the England after being closed during Oliver's crowning, protectorate, Puritanism lost in momentum and the obscenity. Restoration comedy became a recognizable genre. The comedy of Restoration refers to English comedians' write and performance in the Restoration period from 1916 to 1710. In addition, women were allowed to perform on stage for the first name. John Dryden was English poet, literature critic, translator, and playwright who dominated the literature life of Restoration England to such an extent that the period come to in literature circles and the Dryden Age. He established the heroic couplet as a stamp for the English poetry, playwright, successful, sentence, relation, plays, fables, epigrams, compliments, prologues, and playwright. He also introduced the Alexander and the triplet in the form. 3 questions.
Why is it known as the Age of August?
English literature from late 17th and early 19th centuries is known as the Age of August. The rights of time greatly admired her Roman contemporaries imitate the works and frequently dream parallels but well. The contemporary world and the time of the Roman Emperor August. Some of the main writers of the period were John Dryden, the Anglo-Irish writer Jonathan Swift, William Congreve, Joseph Addison, Richard Stirling, Alexander People, Henry Fielding, Samuel Johnson. In process, the early part of the period was overshadowed by the development of the English AC. Joseph Addison and Richard Steele's The Spectator, establishing the form of the British period. Easy, the invention of the posture of the impartial observer of human life who can mediate on the world right without and provoking and specific change in it.
Hi, my name is Carlos and I speak 20th century.
What events marked the 20th century?
The events marked the 20th century are First World War. The experience of the World War I were reflected in the war of were poets such as David Jones, who was on the first generation British modern poets, and lived on the most recognized was titled as El Parentis in the 1937, and the other events is poetic at 20 no 1991 1945. Free verse and other stylist innovation came to the fore at this time, with which T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound were especially associated. T.S. Eliot was born in the United States, emigrated to England in 1914, and was possibly the most important English-speaking poet of the 20th century. Living recognitions were the such and the was land in 1922 and four quartets 1935 at 1942.
Where is the oldest literature festival in the world held?
And the other events is a drama and a major cultural movement in the British theatre that developed in the late 1950 and early 1960 was Chicken Six Realms are novels, films, and television. They used a style of social realism that describes to domestic life of the working class to explore social and political problems. Okay, now I speak the 21st century literature.
What awards can a grade be awarded in the United Kingdom?
The genres that marked a great point at the beginning of the century were the novel, the theater, and genre fiction. And the novel, one the most ambitious novelist to emerge in this period is David Mitchell, whose far-reaching novel called Atlas 2004 spans from the 19th century to future. And theater and the theatrical landscape has been reconfigured, going from the single nation theater of the at the end of the 20th century to four as result of the return of culture police. Genre fiction, the James erotic romance trilogy, 50 Shades of the Grey, in the UK set a record as the best selling paperback book of the time. And finally, I speak the literary institution that continues to be promoted by institutions such as the Eistendorf in Wales and the West Book Council. One of the prizes that can be achieved and the being on one of the most important these are the following: Man Broker Awards, Commonwealth Writer Award, Dublin International Literary Prize, and Carnegie Medal.